Shalom Yashrala. First and foremost, I give a praises to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Akakodash, for putting the spirit upon me to this video. This is the brother Ramya, back at you with another lesson. In today's video, I'm gonna show a clip and get some precepts to drive my point home. As you can see, it's headlined, Georgia man arrested after yelling racial slurs at security guard. And as you know, this basically, Esau and Jacob. As we know, that it'll always be a perpetual Salaki hatred that this devil has for us. And he's gonna show it, no matter where he is, and show it in no matter what way, And this was caught on camera to whereas, Esau was being, quote unquote racist, to Jake, but people believe that there are some out there that, that because their approach may seem nice, that they like you. No, because the inward thought is still, wickedness against you, The wicked thought, the inner thought is still, something negative towards you. You might just not know about it, but they know, So this thing has been happening from they came out of the womb, and it's still happening in today's time right now, as you can see. I can play the clip and get some points.
I'm gonna kick the shit out of you. You wanna do it now? Yeah, take a shot, mother.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm a citizen, you fat shit. You're a
Hell no.
You're a
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, you good.
Okay. What are you gonna do? It's free speech. You fat, ugly
Sorry.
The Georgia man?
Gone, So, I guess, some altercation happened inside of the place, in the building they were at, and the Jake man, he was a security guard there, and he was basically telling the man to exit the building and whatnot, and alongside the help of, those that are inside the building, and Esau didn't like that, because as you know, their mindset is that, everywhere they go, they must be praised or liked or what's not, or they feel no matter what surroundings they in, they better than someone, and this probably was the reason why for him to lash out like that, and as you can see, just Crocker right now, he just is saying everything in the book, he calling him a ninja, a flat slur and what's not, yada yada yada, so this just gonna show you that hatred, that was spoken about from time, is still something, up to now. It's still now, because, as you know, that hatred came from when they exited the womb, that perpetual hatred. And as you can see throughout today right now, that's still their mindset, and that's going to be their mindset until they be put to death. They believe they better than us, better than everybody even. Salakia. This is the book of Genesis. I can take it from this Genesis. I can take it from verse 23. It reads, "And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels." Those 2 nations being the Edomites and Israel, Israelites. "The one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger." And this was, this is, something that it's, has to be done. The elder shall serve the younger, and we know who the elder is, Esau. And when, times of when the Most High cracked them clouds and he come back and bring out that righteous judgment, we know Esau is gonna serve us, Read verse 24. Verse 24. And when our days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in a womb. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they call him Esau. That's Esau now. You see this man? You see this man? Look at him. Red. Red. Red and irate. All because he couldn't get his way, acting like a big baby because he couldn't get his way. You ever carry a child in the candy store and they crying for candy because he'll tell them no? That's him. He went in that building, and he couldn't get his way. So what he did? Start making noise, start complaining, start doing, all acts of disrespectfulness, all because he couldn't get his way. All because he felt as though he was right in the situation. Verse 25. So like in verse 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And as you know, the best hunters out there right now is Esau. They stay inside them fields. They stay inside them woods and wilderness, with them rifles and things, killing them bears and dares and what's not to make clothing out of them or just to hang their head out, so like kill them, cut their head off, gut it, and then hang their head up, as trophies, so this is absolutely true. As you see, the scripture is telling you, the manner of Esau, and if you have this spiritual eyesight, you would understand who was describing, being these so-called Americans in the day's time, But as you know, 2/3 of the Israelites, were scattered among the heathen. So some of them, may be Israelites, and some of them may not, because we look like everybody, we sound like everybody, But if you come from the city of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, chances are you are the Israelite, Verse 28. And Isaac loved Esau because he did of his and Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison. But Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob sought pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore, this was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright. And that's what happened. We sold in our birthright. So now, right now, Esau, may be in rulership, but guess what? When the time comes, Jacob can be ruling forever. No one else is going to get that rulership once Jacob take over, Verse 32. And Esau said, Behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and he showed his birthright unto Jacob, So Jacob knew, what he was doing. He knew what his plan was, He knew, He belittled himself in that moment so that Esau could be happy, because he know his reward in the end is going to be more bigger than some porridge, At this, Shalakia, it's the book of 2nd Address 6 and verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. This is true. So this is true. This is what's gonna happen. Because right now, as you see, Esau's kingdom is crumbling. His kingdom is crumbling. And the person who's going to get that rulership is going to be us Israelites, us Jakes, all because Esau sold over his birthright, from the very beginning, you know. So Jacob knew what he was doing, you know. Like I say, he knew that his reward for that, you know, or he knew that the bigger picture was gonna be more than some porridge, you know. So these devils ain't gonna change, man. You know, as you can see from the beginning, they always had that perpetual hatred for us. You know, and you expect them to change. You know, you expect them to change, and he then sold his birthright over. You know, even in that decision, you know, in the book of Genesis, you know, when it first happened, you know, uh, 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 he was, you know, he was busy contemplating, you know, on selling that over. But because, you know, he didn't have nothing to eat, he was so hungry, he wasn't really thinking. But guess who was thinking? Jacob was thinking because he knew what the end result was going to be. You know, this is our kingdom, you know, and this devil here, you know, this devil here, he ain't gonna change. This devil right here, he ain't gonna change. He can forever be Esau. No matter, uh, 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 no matter what they call themselves, you know, because they like say, you know, for example, I'm American, I Russian, or I'm Russian, I Italian, or this and that, or you know, or whatsoever. All y'all is still the same people in the end, you know. Esau was gonna be Esau, you know. You can't change that, you know. You can't change that. Esau is gonna be Esau, all because of of that greed. You know, he's thinking he's better than everybody. You know, he's thinking that uh, he's saying that he deserved to be, you know, held up high. You know, but guess what? The Most High has other plans for them. You know, the Most High has other plans for him. You know, Salaki, let me try to get this precept. Again, this is the book of, oh, Jeremiah 13 and 23. It reads, can the Ethiopian change his skin? Salakia. Or the leopards his spots? Then may he also do good that are accustomed to do evil? You know, just as Esau. How you expecting him to change what he was born to be? You know, how you expect him to change something that was, you know, his characteristic traits, you know, for years and years now, you know? You can't take the spots of a leopard and still call it a leopard. You know, it ain't a leopard no more. It's a puma, you know? Or you'll call it a lion, you know, or what's not, you know? You can't cut, you know? You can't change the spot on a leopard and call it a different, you know, and still call it a leopard. You know, it's a different animal. You know, it's a different breed of a cat. You know, so same said way. You know, as I say, then may ye also do good that are accustomed to do evil. He's already accustomed to doing evil. You know, and now this man, you know, has been arrested. You know, for misdemeanor, all because he felt as though he was better than Jake in that moment. You know, calling them all the names in the book. You know, and disrespecting a business facility. You know, so this just gonna show you that these devils can't change no matter how hard they try. You know, Esau will always be Esau. But hopefully this lesson was much edifying to serve this purpose. I give a praise to Yahweh Bashan Shai for putting this red roaming to this video. Shalom.